Namaste beautiful yogis. Today I'm gonna demonstrate a few modifications for common poses in my classes, so that if you're new to my channel, or if you're a beginner, or if you have certain challenges or injuries, you can continue doing the classes, and at the same time you are able on your own to modify the poses according to your own needs. I'm gonna do this in series. So today we're just gonna cover some of the most popular poses. The first one being upward facing dog and cobra. Upward facing dog, coming into downward facing dog, we're gonna shift into plank and switch or transition into upward facing dog. In upward facing dog, the top of your toes is on the floor and the knees are off the floor. At the same time, we're tucking the tailbone under, lifting the kneecaps up, engaging the quadriceps, and rolling the shoulders back and down away from the ears. So here we're not just keeping the knees on the floor and cranking the body up and bringing all this back bend into the lower back. We're actually bringing the back bend throughout the entire back, upward back included. If you cannot perform this pose with your knees off the floor, your tailbone tucked under and your chest open, you can always substitute it for cobra. Starting on your belly, your hands are underneath your shoulders and your elbows are tucked into your rib cage. From here you're gonna press your toes into the floor, extend the tailbone down, the belly is firm, and you're gonna lift and keep the elbows into your rib cage. You can even stay here and see how much of your lower back muscles you're using. And later on, you can, as you continue developing your practice, you can straighten your elbows halfway and keep the chest open and the shoulders back and down, tucking the shoulder blades into the back, extending the tailbone down. You can always use cobra instead of upward facing dog. The second most popular pose in my classes is plank. In plank, we are keeping our body over the mat in one straight line, with the belly engaged, with the chest open, with the shoulders over the wrists, fingers spread open, and pressing the heels away from us. The inner thighs are squeezing towards the imaginary midline, and we're keeping the belly in. If this is very difficult for you to maintain, you can always keep your knees on the floor, shoulders over the wrist, and really engage your belly, keeping the belly in. Eventually you can take one leg off the floor and draw the belly in, and the other, and eventually both legs off the floor. The next pose that a lot of you may need to modify during my classes is downward facing dog. In downward facing dog, we do have the hands about shoulder width apart, with the fingers spread open. The feet are hip width apart, with the heels pressing down towards the mat. They don't have to be on the mat. The important point here is to have your back straight and to continue lowering, softening the heels down towards the mat, so you're getting a nice stretch through your calves and through your hamstrings. If you cannot keep your back straight like this, you're gonna have to have your knees bent so that you can straighten your back and continue working your heels down towards the floor. Continue working on straightening slowly your legs over time, so that you can work on your hamstring flexibility, back strength, back flexibility. And the last pose I'm gonna cover today is Pigeon. If you have knee injuries or if you have any tension or pain in your knees during Pigeon, you should modify Pigeon and perform it on your back. To perform Pigeon properly, generally we're gonna come from downward facing dog. We're gonna bring the knee forward and bring the knee somewhere on the outside, right knee on the outside of the right wrist with the right heel towards the left hip bone. From here, you're gonna look down and make sure that your hips are equal distance from the floor. If you cannot bring your left hip down, then this is probably a little too much for you at the moment, and you may need to roll on top of your shin bone and stay here for a while. You should feel this as a stretch in your hip and not as a strain or pain in any of your joints, especially your right knee, this particular position. So if you can keep your hips level and you actually don't feel that you're stretching enough, you can take your back foot and walk it away from you so that you're taking the heel away from you. Try not to grab your heel and pull it away from you. You're better off actually walking the back leg away from you, and that way your heel is going to be further away from your hip. You can bring your shin bone all the way to parallel to the front edge of your mat. Make sure at all times your foot is flexing so that you are protecting your knee. You can bring the shin bone to parallel to the front edge of your mat, but at the same time you have to have your hips level and square so that your tailbone is aligning with your spine. We're gonna keep the back elongated and we can even lower down. I generally like holding Pigeon for at least 5 minutes. That way you can experience the benefits of this hip opener. To come out of this pose, we're staying off of the stretching leg, the right leg. We bring the hands in a downward dog alignment, tuck the toes under and lift all the way back. And do a few circles, allowing the hip to relax. Modification for Pigeon. One of the modifications for Pigeon, I will show a few different ones in the future, but for now I'll show the most popular one. Is pretty much the same thing done on your back, taking left leg, the left ankle is over the opposite, the right knee, flexing the foot and threading the left hand between the legs to grab the back of the right knee. We're flexing the feet and pressing with our elbow so that the left knee is pressing away from us, and at the same time bringing the right knee in so the right ankle comes in. This is much more gentle on your knees than Pigeon performed in the way I just demonstrated. So stick to this one up until your knees feel comfortable to do the complete version of the pose. Let me know if you have any questions. I will try to cover a few more of the most popular poses in future videos. Thanks for watching. Namaste.